The annals of Roman history are filled with tales of power, betrayal, and excess, but few figures stand out as vividly or as grotesquely as Emperor Elagabalus. Born in 204 AD and ascending to the throne at the tender age of 14, Elagabalus reigned for a brief but infamously scandalous period from 218 to 222 AD. His tenure was marked by behavior so extreme and shocking that even the notoriously decadent Roman aristocracy was appalled. To this day, he remains one of the most controversial and reviled figures in Roman history, earning a reputation as perhaps the most disgusting Roman emperor of all time. Elagabalus was born Sextus Varius Avitus Bassianus in the Syrian city of Emesa, where his family served as high priests of the sun god Elagabal. His ascent to power was orchestrated by his ambitious grandmother, Julia Maesa, who falsely claimed he was the illegitimate son of the previous emperor, Caracalla. This fabricated lineage secured him the loyalty of the Roman legions, and with their support, he overthrew Emperor Macrinus in a violent coup. Once in power, Elagabalus wasted no time in shocking the empire. One of Elagabalus's most notorious acts was his attempt to impose the worship of his Syrian deity, Elagabal, on the Roman people. He had a massive black stone, believed to be a meteorite and sacred to Elagabal, transported to Rome and installed in a specially constructed temple on the Palatine Hill. He declared himself the high priest of this new religion and forced Rome's traditional gods, including Jupiter, to take a back seat to his foreign cult. This affront to Roman religious traditions alienated the Senate and the populace, but it was only the beginning of his bizarre reign. Elagabalus's personal life was a whirlwind of debauchery and scandal. He openly flouted Roman norms by dressing in women's clothing, wearing makeup, and referring to himself as a woman. Ancient historians claim that he offered vast sums of money to any physician who could transform him physically into a woman, making him a fascinating, though controversial, figure in discussions of ancient gender and sexuality. His marriages, including one to a Vestal virgin, which was considered a sacrilegious act, only added to the outrage. His excesses extended to the banquet hall, where he hosted feasts of such extravagance that they bordered on the absurd. Elagabalus would serve delicacies like flamingo brains, peacock tongues, and camel heels, often wasting vast amounts of food for sheer spectacle. At one infamous banquet, he is said to have smothered his guests under an avalanche of rose petals, an act both wasteful and potentially lethal. His disregard for propriety and the welfare of his people knew no bounds. But perhaps the most revolting aspect of Elagabalus's reign was his penchant for cruelty and humiliation. He reportedly delighted in practical jokes that caused genuine harm, such as releasing wild animals among his dinner guests, or seating guests on inflatable cushions that would collapse mid-meal. His treatment of those in his court was equally appalling, with accounts of his sadistic pleasure in tormenting those who served him. Despite his youth, Elagabalus quickly alienated the very power structures that had elevated him to the throne. His grandmother, Julia Maesa, who had engineered his rise, grew disillusioned with his erratic and self-destructive behavior. She ultimately conspired with her other grandson, Alexander Severus, to have Elagabalus removed. In 222 AD, Elagabalus and his mother were assassinated by the Praetorian Guard, their bodies dragged through the streets of Rome before being unceremoniously thrown into the Tiber River. Elagabalus's reign lasted only 4 years, but the legacy of his depravity has endured for centuries. While some modern historians argue that the ancient accounts of his life may be exaggerated or biased, written by authors eager to vilify him, there is no doubt that his actions left an indelible mark on Roman history. Elagabalus serves as a cautionary tale of what happens when power falls into the hands of someone utterly unfit to wield it. His story is a grotesque but compelling chapter in the long saga of the Roman Empire, one that continues to fascinate and horrify in equal measure.